Hello guys, so now we shall be discussing the external features of the pons from the posterior aspect or the dorsal aspect. Okay, so in the previous videos we have discussed the external features of the pons from the anterior view. Now we shall be discussing the external features of the pons on the dorsal aspect. So our topic of discussion would be external features of pons from posterior or dorsal view. Posterior or the dorsal view. So external features of the pons from the posterior or the dorsal. Now in this picture over here, you can very clearly see the posterior view or the dorsal view of the pons. Okay. So in this picture over here, this part which you can see over here, this is called as your midbrain. We have already discussed about this, right? Midbrain. And this part over here is called as your pons. And this part over here is called as your medulla oblongata, and this is your spinal cord. Spinal cord. Now if you look at the posterior view picture, we shall start drawing from the midbrain onwards. So let us say that this particular structure over here is your midbrain. Okay, now this midbrain here, it is having 4 swellings. You can see 1, 2, 3 as well as 4. There are 4 swellings. So here we have got 4 important swellings. So here there is 1, there is 2, here there is 3, and this is 4. There are 4 important swellings over here. So these 4 important swellings are called as colliculi. Okay, so the upper 2 are called as superior colliculi and the lower 2 are called as inferior colliculi. Next, just beneath this, here we have got 2 more important structures like this. Okay, so what are these structures which you can see here? This is called as your pons. Okay, and by the way, the sulcus that is dividing the superior and inferior colliculus is called as cruciform sulcus. Okay, so it is in the form of a cross, so you call this as a cruciform sulcus, and this is your pons. Now within this pons, just beneath the pons, we are drawing the posterior side, right? So beneath the pons, here you have got your medulla oblongata like this. This is your medulla oblongata. Right, so this particular picture is your medulla oblongata. Now if you very carefully observe over here, within the pons on the back, you have got a sulcus exactly in the center. So you have got a sulcus exactly in the center. On either side of the sulcus, there are 2 more sulci. Okay, so overall, if you look at this picture, right? Overall, if you look at this picture, this gives you these are like 2 longitudinal masses which are present on either side. They are in the form of a bundle or they are in the form of a swelling, right? So what is this particular swelling which you can see? There are 2 longitudinal swellings, right? So these longitudinal swellings over here are called as eminence. You see the such longitudinal swelling over here. So these longitudinal swellings are called as eminence. So what eminence these should be called as? They are present in the center, so you call them as medial eminence. So these 2 structures over here are called as medial eminence. Now, what is the sulcus that is present exactly in the center? Any sulcus that is present exactly in the center is called as median sulcus. So this one over here is called as median sulcus. Okay. Next important thing, the sulcus that is present on the side here, this is called as sulcus limitans. This sulcus over here is called as your sulcus limitans. So the sulcus that is present exactly in the center is called as a median sulcus. The sulcus that is present on either sides is called as the sulcus limitans. Okay. Now, next important thing is that on the surface of this medial eminence, in the lower part on the surface, here you have got 2 important bodies like this. You see, these 2 important bodies are called as colliculus. What colliculus? These are called as facial colliculus. So these 2 important structures are called as facial colliculus. Okay, so one thing is you have got median sulcus, you have got medial eminence, you have got sulcus limitans, and you have got facial colliculus. So one is on the right, one is on the left. Right facial colliculus and left facial colliculus. And next important thing is that on either sides of sulcus limitans, if you carefully see, you got a depression, a triangular shaped depression on either sides of the sulcus limitans. So this is called as superior fovea. Okay, so this triangular like depression is called as superior fovea, a triangular depression or a V-shaped depression. Okay, these are called as superior fovea. Next, when you come on to the top, on the top here, you can find two important structures like this. You see, on the top here, you can see two important structures. Now, what are these two important structures that are located on top of the sulcus limitans? So, this is your sulcus limitans. On the top of the sulcus limitans, what are this? These two structures over here are called as locus coeruleus. Okay, these two structures over here is called as locus coeruleus. Okay, these two structures over here are called as locus coeruleus. So, where are these locus coeruleus located? They are located on the top surface of your, where it is located on top surface of the sulcus limitans. Okay, right. So, once again, let us revise all these important things over here. And by the way, not to forget one last important thing. This last important thing is that on this longitudinal ridge, which is called as medial eminence, the lower part of the medial eminence, you see there are some fibers like this. So these are a bundle of white fibers that are located on either side. So what are these bundle of white fibers called? These bundle of white fibers are called as stria medullaris. These are called as stria medullaris. So these bundle of white fibers are called as stria medullaris. So overall, what are the structures which you can see over here? So the first important thing is, this is your midbrain. Now this midbrain is having four important colliculi. What are these four important colliculi? Two are called as superior colliculus, remaining two are called as inferior colliculus. But anyways, our topic is regarding the pons. So this is the posterior surface of the pons. Now posterior surface of the pons is having a central sulcus in the center. What is that called as? That is called as median sulcus. On either sides of the median sulcus, you have got two more sulcus. This is called as sulcus limitans. Okay, so between the medial sulcus and sulcus limitans, you have got a longitudinal ridge. This longitudinal ridge is called as medial eminence. On the top of this longitudinal ridge on either sides, you have got a structure called as locus coeruleus. Down when you see, you have got two facial colliculi. One is on the right, one is on the left. Okay, right and left facial colliculi. And more extreme, you have got superior fovea. Again, one on the right and another one is on the left. Next, you have got these fibers over here. These are a bundle of white fibers that are located on the lower part. So this is called as stria medullaris. So these are some of the very important structures which form. These are the external features of the pons from the back or the posterior view. Okay. So this is all you need to know, guys. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.